Hey, welcome. This is Tom, and this is a quick run through of the multiple choice modification that we're adding to challenge. Daniel, this is especially for you. Anyone else wants to watch it is you're welcome. I'm going to demo this real quick. I'm going to go into the TOC. I'm working on a snapshot of our current data, so I could play all I want. I'm going to open the challenge. And when the challenge opens, a very, very subtle change near the top. Up in the corner, there's a little button called Settings. And if I click it once, it says Use Multiple Answer Mode. And if I click it again, you'll notice that's now checked. If I click it again, it goes off. And we're back in what we call the standard challenge mode. Right now, I have a lot of scans in here. And if I run this right now, let me clear out all the old scans. Okay, so now if I run a normal scan right now, you'll notice that I get the standard A, B, C, D, E in here. That's looking for one answer per question on the multiple choice. And so if you notice, then question 1 has E, question 2 has D, 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 so you can see that the answers match up. Now, what this idea is that we offer the students the risk-reward option here. If they mark more than one answer per question, they may be able to get a partial score if they're not sure of an answer, up to a half of the value of a full score. So if they mark 2 answers, they won't miss all of it. They can get half of the credit by including the correct answer in one of their 2 choices. If they mark 3 of them, then they can get a third of the value. And if they mark every one on their score sheet, we're hosed because we can't figure out which ones are marked. But in any case, the basic idea here is that we probably will limit that to no more than, say, 2 or 3. I think that would be smart. Anyway, I want to show you how this works. When I switch this over, now let me clear this out again. Let me run that again. Just want to scan it once. And there's 2 steps in this process always. First, we scan it and we get the answer sheet in the letters. And the second thing we do is we highlight the row and then compile it. And it tells you which currently selected form you're using. And then it'll show up over here in the top row and gives you their score. Notice this is currently showing these with an extra decimal point, and that's in anticipation of the fractional answers we can get on the challenge. All right, next we're going to clear this out. Let me show you the other mode. The other mode is to turn on the multiple answer mode. Let me go back to the scan and click this one and clear it out. Okay, now we'll just take James again. And he's probably not going to get any different, but it's going to look a little different. So now we're in multiple answer mode, and instead of A, B, C, D, and E, we get a bunch of garbage. P, H, 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 B, H, P. This is kind of weird. It doesn't allow us. It's not very intuitive. But let me explain what it's doing. Actually, I'm going to show you the answer sheet that I want to use here, and there's a special one that I prepared here. And that's this one. Whoever this is, I've actually modified the first 20 questions here, so let me work with that one. And so now I am going to scan this one right here, and we'll get some different answers now. PH, at symbol, ABH, PP, and so on. And that's the one I just did. And let me show you what happens now if I select this and compile it. Go back and see what scores we got. And he's down the, let's just bring him to the top here. I may have scanned the wrong one. Let me select this again. Go back into scan. Let me see if I scanned the wrong one. So let me clear him out and do this one right here. I did the one below it. Scan that. And there we go. And this is now the one that has 2 answers on the first question, 2 answers on the third. Actually, there's 3 answers on number 12 and so forth. So I have this set up so that it's like a typical answer sheet where students are answering more than one. Now let me select it, compile it, and run it, and go back to compile, bring it to the top. Did I do that right? Select it, compile it. Let me see if that worked. Oh, I'm not at the top. Duh. There we go. So now you can see that this student, Gautam, has 14.8 points. And this special area is the one that I'm actually going to look at very closely. Okay, so let me go back to the scan, and we're going to look at this. Now, I've actually pulled out some screenshots here for you to look at here. So let me do this. Make that nice and big. Here's what we're looking at. Here are the first 20 questions on Gautam, whatever his name is, on his answer sheet. First question, he marked C and E, and the correct answer, I believe, was C. Anyway, he marked 2 answers. Now, this is actually some internal statistics that are inside the computer. I actually had these already available, so I just worked with this table of statistics to work out which ones were shaded. If you look at this, you can see that what I do is I take a little rectangle around each of these ovals and I count the dots. And so basically just counting the dots inside each of these, I get 0, 0, 41, 1, and 42. Now, since obviously 41 and 42 are much larger than the other two, those are my filled in ones. And so then after I calculate which ones are actually been filled in, and I say to myself C and E are filled in, then I have a system here where I need to record all of the places. And I use a standard binary method. If they mark A, anytime they mark A, I add 1 to the total score for that question. Anytime they mark B, I add 2. C, I add 4. D, I add 8. E, I add 16. And so this one, they have C and E. So I add together 4 and 16, and I get 20. Now, 20 is the binary score for that question. That's C plus E. And there's a binary score. And then what I do then is I take 64 and add that 20 to it, and I get 84, which is T. And that's the first answer for the first question. So the T is a way of encoding a letter that stores all of their choices for the first question. Let's look at number 12. That's the one they marked 3 on. Here on 12, they marked B and C and E. If you look at 12 here, they have 2, 39, 41, 2, and 38. And you can see the 3 really big numbers are those 3. So we mark B, C, and E. We go over here and we add together 2 plus 4 plus 12. We get 22. We add that 22 to 64 and we get 86, and that's a V. So somewhere in here, right here, is the V. So this is how we convert the multiple answer sheet things here into a letter, and we actually can store the responses in this one string of letters for grading when we import those into our score sheet. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move this off and bring us back to our program here. And I want to go back into the challenge, and this next step I want to show you the code. I'll step through the code with you. There's a little bit of code in here that we can see. Let's see, I want to go to another spot. That's not it. It's in the challenge though, so maybe it's going to go right there for me. Where are we? There we go, right there. So there's a routine in here then. We used to have a thing called mark. Now we have one called multi-mark. And multi-mark will show you, will actually do we'll take the letter and turn it into a score. And so if we run this thing, we're going to break in here and look at this. And let's see what we have here. Back to the program, and we're going to select this one here and hit compile. And it's going to stop at the multi-mark, and we're going to step through it. Now I want to show my debug window. I want to be able to see the values of the things. So we'll want to watch window number 1 here. Let's see if this works as we step through it. Okay, so this is the first letter. The first letter in the answer sheet is T, and I have used a subroutine to turn that back around. So the multi, it got the letters, and it got C and E, and then it got the correct answer, which was C, and then it says, is this one part of this one? And so then it calculates the scores and adds them to their total. So the score here is a half point because they answered 2. So we added a half point to the answers, and then we add that to the score. We step through to the next question, the next answer. And if you recall, the next answer on this answer sheet is an H. Okay? And so the H will show up here next. As we go down here, the answer is an H. There it is. And an H corresponds to the letter D, and the correct answer is D. They have one answer, and it's correct, so they get 1 point added to their score. There we see now their score is 1.5. And so on. And so then we unpack these letters, turn them into the choices that were there before. And let me just to kind of step through each of the questions in this test. There's the third one, had 2 marks, B and E, and it was correct, so I got a half point. Let's go up to that number 12 and see what happened there. There it is. On number 12, they had B, C, and E, and the correct answer was C. So they got 0.33333 added to their score, and it became 8.8333, and so on, just what you would expect to have happen. So when they're done, when it's all done, we let it run out to the end and look at the output here in the compile page. We see that their total score, even though they had every answer marked right, because some of their answers they had multiple answers marked to get the right one included, they scored 14.8. Now clearly this is going to present the students with a classic risk reward. If they're real sure of their answer, they'll go for the maximum score and only mark 1. If they're a little less sure, they can get a half point by marking 2, or a third point by marking 3, which is still significantly better than getting nothing. And so this encourages students to think every choice through very carefully and to put down a strategic set of answers, and should eliminate a lot of ties on the challenge. So we shouldn't have very many students who tie if they play the game correctly. We should probably have a training video to show the kids online so they can watch it before they come to the contest. We should also probably have one for how to correctly mark the answer sheets. Okay, well that's the multiple, and by the way, we can go back to the old method by just clicking this and turning that off, and we're back in the way we've always done it. So we have a new capability added to the challenge, and it's not in the currently updated version, but it will be anytime. The next time I update, we'll have this available. Thanks, and have fun with this. Bye.